Look out. Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sportswriter Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Welcome in, and thanks for joining three guys who look a whole lot like their caricatures on that first frame there. Bob Stevens, formerly of ESPN, Curry Kirkpatrick, formerly of Sports Illustrated, Rich Basirico, Hall of Fame basketball coach. Oh, we're in Coach Basirico's wheelhouse right now. Let's start throwing people under the bus. Got anybody in the NBA, Rich?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Nick shot 62% from the foul line. In the NBA, that's look. I took my grandson out to outdoor courts, which isn't easy to shoot, and he was 18 for 20 from the foul line. He's 11 years old. How can NBA guys?
Here you go on free throws. Yeah,
Coach. Well, the Lakers free throws. It's free.
The Lakers missed a ton of free throws last
there you
night
go.
to take them out.
Should it not be free shoot, free throw? Anyway,
Well, so the Knicks are up 3-1.
Yes.
And the game they won, remember in Game 2 in New York, the NBA came out with a report after the game, and they said, "Oh, we were wrong.
Right.
You did get fouled."
Yes.
And Brunson grabbed
There were
Max
2 fouls,
Max went
actually,
down 2 fouls, and they didn't give Nick Nurse his timeout. Let me ask you this: why does the NBA come out with a public report on that? Isn't that more embarrassing than if they just kept quiet?
Right.
It's more embarrassing to the refs. I mean, these are their refs.
Right. Well,
Is that their strategy? What is the strategy?
Their strategy is to ruin the talk shows.
well,
Who can do nothing but grouse
the
about it.
76ers obviously appealed. They went to the league.
Yeah,
What-
but it
how does
doesn't
that
mean
make them
anything.
feel
How does
better?
it make- yeah, it doesn't
how
make
does
them
it
feel
make
they
them
lost
feel
the game.
better?
You've been around a few years.
No, not
Have
me.
any of those appeals ever been? Has anyone ever said, "Yeah, you're right. We're going to go back and do those last 10 seconds over again"?
We replayed it. Yeah,
Never has.
No.
Never happened.
So then in Game 3, Embiid, I'm surprised you haven't brought him up under the bus character.
Well, that's something that's coming.
He goes for 50. He goes for 50, and then it's revealed that he has Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
He has Bell's palsy. What's a, that's an affliction. I've read about this. It was named after Alexander Graham Bell, who of course invented the telephone, and then blabbed so much into it he got palsy. That's not really true, but the illness, apparently Bell's palsy
TikTok
also
is getting him now, isn't it?
Bell's palsy also apparently forces you to go to the ground and grab opposing players' legs and throw them down to the court
And then get
without
called for it.
getting thrown out of the game.
Right.
I mean, Embiid needed to be thrown out of the game
should
right
have.
then.
And
And
then
Robinson
given
hasn't played since, right?
Right.
The kid that he
Correct.
grabbed. He hadn't played since.
That's right.
So what's that all about?
I don't know what it's about.
And
but
then Embiid, how about in Game 5 that he blasted
the last game.
Brunson coming through the lane.
Right.
He blasted him in chin.
And Brunson said something to him, and he didn't.
said
He
something.
was like, "What are you talking about?"
And then he scored 15 points in the last 6 minutes, in the following 6 minutes. And Embiid in the fourth, 0-1 basket or something like that.
It was one basket.
I mean, you talk about a dog.
Yeah.
You know,
Then his last thing he was complaining about the Phillies
The fans.
the
Fans.
Knicks fans
Yeah,
were
yeah,
better
yeah,
than the
yeah,
Philly
yeah,
fans,
yeah.
which
Well,
I
it took
love.
over.
Which I absolutely
Well, it took
love
over.
that.
I was listening to this game on the beach, and every time there was this huge explosion of applause, and I said, "Oh, Philly's doing great here."
Right.
Well, it was a Knicks basket, and the place exploded. And it was later I found. What was that all about? Did the Knicks fans buy all the tickets?
I guess
in
so. That's
Philly?
why Embiid was so upset about it.
And the Philly fans, and they were yelling, their own Philly fans are yelling, F Embiid, F Embiid. I mean, I thought Philadelphia fans were like, crazy
Yeah.
pals. And what,
Well, they say they are.
in my experience, when New York teams played Philadelphia teams, I mean, there'd be fights. You go to New York.
Right.
I had a friend at ESPN, and his buddies, when the Giants would play at Philadelphia, they would wear all their Giants gear to go to Philadelphia and beer up and get in fights. They'd say, bring it on. I mean, they went there to fight. And so Philly fans would fight them. But now Philly fans are like pussies. It's
I know,
like,
it didn't
what
make
happened?
sense. I was shocked by that.
I think they just hate their teams.
How about Jimmy Butler coming out? See what he said?
You mean?
Oh my God!
You mean
If-
Pat?
No, but Jimmy Butler first came out and said that if we would have beaten, if I was playing, we would have beaten Miami. I mean, not Miami. We would have beaten the Knicks or the Celtics if I was healthy. Well, you're not healthy.
Yeah.
You're not on the floor.
But then the owner.
Oh, Pat
came out
Riley,
and
which
killed
I
him.
loved
Yeah,
that
that
when he
was
did.
great.
I
That
love
was
that he
great.
said he should keep his
But-
mouth
but-
shut.
Well,
there you go.
No.
Yeah. We've spent 10 minutes talking about the East.
About Villanova.
And you know what? None of those guys
because Minnesota is now the Cinderella,
right.
and now they're the hot favorite,
become the favorite.
beating Denver twice
On their home floor.
Yeah,
And they beat Phoenix 4 in a row, so now they're 6-0 in the playoffs.
That's pretty stout
and they
stuff.
did it. They did it in the second game without Rudy Gobert, who just had his first son. And speaking of nicknames, he's always had my favorite nickname in the NBA because he's from France, and he's such a great defensive player that his nickname is the Stifle Tower.
The Stifle
I
Tower.
mean, that's always been my favorite. And now Stifle has a little stifle after the game. But I mean, we can give props
Still not
again.
the Big Dipper, but I'm sorry. I go back. That goes back.
Much Stifle Tower. But we have to give props. I mean, Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man, has now become the face of the league, right?
He's the next Jordan. He's the next Michael
Rich,
Jordan.
it's hard to throw Jordan's name around. It's always done with these players, but every time he gets the ball, it looks like he's going to score no matter what he does. Shoot a three, go to the basket, mid-range, bounce a guy off.
He can definitely do it all.
He's just a terrific player. And he seems like a great personality. Went to Georgia for 1 year, as we said last week.
Oklahoma City and Minnesota. The networks are going to love that if it turns out to be that.
Oklahoma City, their star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and of course, he now is.
Now, what's his nickname?
Well, as they said last night, one of Minnesota's stars off the bench was Nixel Alexander Walker. I mean, these all guys. Turns out he's a cousin of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That figures. They're both from Canada. Everybody's from Canada, and he was
they have
on
three
Murray.
names? Is that why they have three names?
I hope so. But he was on Murray, like, unbelievable. He played great
Murray-
defense on
Murray-
Murray.
Murray's struggling.
shot 3 of 18.
He's struggling.
And Alexander Walker, or Walker Alexander, whatever his name is, he just was on, and he made 4 threes, too, this kid, off the bench. So they're set. I mean,
Probably both of them called Alexander the Great already,
and
right?
speaking of three names, the Cat, what's his name, the center for Minnesota?
Carl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, speaking of three names,
yeah.
he has outplayed the Joker for 2 games now. So
He definitely has.
I mean, Denver's in a real.
But you know who I think is the key
Problem.
for Minnesota is Conley. He's their quarterback.
terrific.
He's their point guard. He only scored 4 points last night, but he keeps everybody under control. He runs the show for them.
He's been great forever.
He
Remember
has
when
been.
he played at Memphis, with the young Memphis.
Yeah.
He's been terrific.
He's the
forever.
key for that team.
Yeah. I think Minnesota's going to win the whole thing.
I do too.
Wow.
I agree with you.
The whole thing.
Who have they got? Who's anybody got to guard this guy? Guard the Ant-Man? I mean, I don't think.
Well, I'm trying to think of Boston. Who would?
Well, their backcourt is big and tough, and
Yeah.
they'll try. But
They have a lot of
but
depth.
Boston always spits. Speaking of spit the bit, the Celtics spit the bit every year. So
We got plenty more bit spitting to do. in our
Since
final
2005, LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant out before the second round.
It's crazy.
2005, that's almost 20 years.
Think about that.
That's what a great run they have had, and
Well,
now they get to watch.
Now people are talking about, they should get together now and start again another triple big 3 team. Get the 3 old guys together again.
Where?
Well, they could go to Golden State. I mean, Durant is finished at Phoenix. Come on, they're going to
wants
get
out.
rid-
Durant wants out.
Well, wherever he goes, he wants out. About 3 days later.
Lakers now. We're going to start.
Yeah,
with
but
that?
let's go. Yeah,
Well-
LeBron being out.
Well,
do you think?
did you hear him after? I mean,
Well, he wouldn't answer any questions.
the exchange that'll go around the world for 2 months. They asked him, "Did you ever think about, was this your last game with the Lakers?" And he thought for a minute, and he said, "I'm not going to answer that. Thank you," and walked out. I mean, that's going to be replayed for the next 3 months.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he's very canny in all this stuff. Now he's probably going to go free agency. Obviously, it wouldn't hurt him not to.
But wasn't he owed like $50 million?
He has a
Maybe that's what it is,
$50 million
Yeah.
option to play next
Yeah,
year.
so who wants to
and
pay
it's
that?
his option. Gee, do I want to make $50 million?
Yeah.
But somebody else will pay him. What? I mean, that's
Maybe.
that's
Well, his
obviously the-
family's in L.A.
Right.
His son is maybe coming into and I think the Lakers will draft him, and that'll be another
Well, I think they're nuts.
urgant move to keep.
Well, the coach is
keep
already
LeBron
out.
there.
They're talking about the coach being gone.
And his businesses, LeBron's businesses are in L.A. And, to give him his due, Rich, I mean, he played these games, the last few games, I mean, he played his heart out in these games. And he had a great fourth quarter last night. And they're just not as good. I mean, Murray hit the second game-winning shot in the series. And you knew, as I was watching this thing, I don't know, I stayed up and watched the whole thing. it's going back and forth and forth. It was never a doubt in my mind the Nuggets were going to win. Yeah. Even though LeBron's playing, Davis got hurt. Right. He was basically helpless in the fourth quarter. He didn't have his shoulder. But LeBron was just playing his heart out, and they lost, and, that's it. Yeah. It was so sudden that I didn't even realize. I said, when Murray made the shot, the season's over. Right. LeBron's over. Right. It might be never again.
Yeah. How about
he
that?
Gets this close. Yeah. And now they're all speculating, where can he go, or where can he go to go to the championship again?
Knicks. I don't want him to go to the Knicks. I don't want him to go to the Knicks.
The Knicks are going to do doing pretty well on their
own.
own.
My goodness.
Come on, you're fine. Your guys are winning.
Well, Brunson is amazing. He had 47 on Sunday. He's terrific.
We're going to go back to the next time. We're going to stay with the Lakers. I want to throw the Lakers a little bit under now.
Keep going.
I don't think they deserted it. After the second game, after they were, they lost the first 3 games. Anthony Davis, after the second game, what he was worried about, they asked him, are you upset you didn't make the all-defensive team or something? He was mad at that. He said, the league doesn't like me.
Oh.
He's not concerned about, they're down. And the league doesn't like me. First of all, the league doesn't vote on the all-defensive team. The media does. Right. Well, the media doesn't like him. You're right. What's there to like? Come on. But, the league doesn't like me. And then and then he walked. They asked him about the first, remember, after the game, was it game 2 that Murray made the shot?
Yes.
They asked him, what were you doing on that play? What was the play about? Could you give us your... And he said, Murray made the shot, slammed the microphone out, and walked out. Now LeBron gets in there, and they ask him about the game, and he goes off on a call made in the third quarter. He said, what was the replay team doing in New Jersey? What were they doing? And he says, what are we doing here? And he slams the microphone and walks out. So that was their walk-offs.
The league doesn't want the Lakers.
These are their 2 stars.
Well, they don't want the Lakers to go on. They're only worth half the ratings that the.
So then there's game 3, and D'Angelo Russell, who hit 7 threes in game 2. Right. He goes 0 for 7 in game 3, and they shot him. Did you see this late in the game on a timeout? He was away from the huddle, and he's sitting on, and it looked like he was either eating a sandwich or scrolling on his phone. No, seriously.
I know.
How can the Lakers how can they even suit him up for the next game? It's an embarrassment.
It is
embarrassing. Don't they? LeBron's got to be looking at this. Get rid of this guy.
Right.
I think they should have got rid of him right after the game.
Yes. I
totally
agree with you.
It's amazing.
Those guys don't listen to their coach. No. They don't listen whatsoever.
And did you listen after the game last night? The Denver coach, he did 5 minutes on Darvin Ham and how good a coach he was, how he hopes he stays there a long time.
Yeah, because I can beat him.
He went on and on about Darvin Ham to save his job, really. It sounded like this guy is trying to save his job.
Well, he's not going to save it because LeBron doesn't want him.
Yeah.
So he's out.
Yeah.
If LeBron doesn't want you, you're out. If he doesn't want Russell there, he's out.
It would be tough to be a coach for LeBron James.
I thought we were done with the NBA. We may not be. Well, we got to do some more. You guys, you're not done yet. Off the court.
Rich is a coach, and the poor Lakers coach, Darvin Ham, goes down after the game.
2 years he's been the coach. They went to the finals last year, the conference finals. Yeah. This year, of course, they got beat in the first round. And you knew as soon as the season was over, he's gone because LeBron doesn't want him. LeBron runs the show. He doesn't want him. And the guy's a good coach. He is a very good coach. You know what happened also? In the beginning of the season, the coach went to LeBron and said, we're going to cut your minutes. We're not going to play. So you're rested. So down the stretch in the playoffs, you'll have your legs and everything else. And LeBron didn't want any part of that. He wanted no part of that. And he went to ownership and said, I don't. He went to GM, said, I want to play. Good for him that he wants to play. But you're going to get the guy fired over something like that? And come on.
Well, Coach Killer, did you ever have a player get you fired?
I didn't get fired, but
you have any players get you in trouble?
Well, they gave me my gray hair. I lost some hair because of it. Other than that, it was great.
Well, and in the Denver series, LeBron in the fourth quarters was exhausted. Almost every game.
Of course he was.
That goes to your minutes played. I called Darvin Ham Jarvin, but it doesn't matter because he's gone. But as you say, LeBron has fired how many coaches?
8 out of 9.
8 out of 9.
The only one who survived him was Eric Spoelstra, who does not have any gray hair. Neither does, at least at the time, the guy who saved him, right? And Pat Riley, who was always...
And Riley saved Spoelstra. And I remember even those days, there was a playoff game where Miami's playing, and Spoelstra's coming off the bench for a timeout, and LeBron is going. And LeBron was angry at Spoelstra. And he bumps into him. You remember that? It was
do
like
remember
obvious.
that. Yeah.
And everybody said, "Whoa, wait a minute!"
Right, but
LeBron's
it's
just-
LeBron. He can get
LeBron
away
just-
with anything.
You know, he just gave a body block to.
Well, who wants to coach the Lakers? Seriously, why would you want to coach the Lakers with LeBron? What you would want to coach him?
Absolutely.
Well,
Let LeBron do whatever he wants.
Well, they say.
I still got a shot.
Well, they say J.J. Redick wants to coach the Lakers.
The guy has
so
no
he
coaching background.
coached.
He's never
And
coached.
he's a Duke guy. You think that's going to work out? Come on.
But look, I mean, whoever the coach is going to be, it's going to be obviously approved by LeBron.
It's a LeBron production. I mean, and
Maybe
LeBron's
that's
80s.
how he gets together with Bronny, is he makes Bronny the coach as a player coach, and LeBron plays for.
They should make
for
LeBron
his
the
son.
player coach.
Well,
Remember back in the day, Bill Russell was, K.C. Jones was a player
Well,
coach.
that's what he
Wilkins.
wants. He's coaching this team. He was coaching this year.
Let him do it. See how well
I
he
think,
does.
I
Let him
guarantee
do
you,
it.
LeBron and Bronny are going to be playing.
Oh,
with the Lakers.
I didn't believe it, but
that-
now the
oh,
more I read about
no
it,
question.
the Lakers
No
are going to draft him, which is
A lot of
incredible.
news, a lot of little nuggets, a lot of little stuff that I think has bugged all of us, and we're going to throw some other people under the bus when we come back in just a moment.
Along with Rich Basirico, Hall of Fame basketball coach, Curry Kirkpatrick, Hall of Fame sports writer from Sports Illustrated. I'm Bob Stevens.
Hall of Famer.
Nah, I'm not in anybody's Hall of Fame. I haven't even made my high school Hall of Fame, and there were only 100 of us in the class. I'm still waiting for the phone call there. NFL draft, you guys were as excited as Eminem to be there, I'm sure, in Detroit. It was a huge party.
Well, I've got a source
Good
that
stuff.
is still there, by the way, and he's reporting that on the clock, the Kansas City Chiefs, with the 585th pick, have picked a 5'10" backer from the School of Hard Knocks named Taylor
Swift, yeah.
They drafted her. Apparently, it took so long to draft her because there were some character issues, and she had a bad interview. That's what they always say. They had a bad interview. And
Did she have a good 40 time? What was her 40 time?
She wanted to sing during the interview. That was a bad interview. So. But you know, one of the other than all the draft choices, one of the funniest parts of the draft I loved was this: when the general manager of the Indiana, what are they called?
Indianapolis
Colts.
Yeah.
Chris Mannix came out and bitched and moaned about anonymous sources, you know, killing his draft choice and wondering why he went so bad. And he goes on, he says, profane rant. And what is this? What is he talking about? What does it matter if it's anonymous?
Right.
I mean, these
defending his pick. He's defending his pick to make people
What's it
realize.
matter?
And the pick
what's
was a
it
guy
matter?
named Donald Mitchell, from a wide receiver from Texas.
Yeah.
But he played at Georgia. He played on a
Right.
championship team at Georgia, transferred to Texas. So, but they went down in the draft to pick him.
Right.
So what's that all about? I mean, these teams spend millions of dollars to check out the character and the background of all their players. And, you know, what if it matters that, what if it matters if it's anonymous or not? Maybe this guy has a habit of, hanging around bus stops and picking up little boys or robbing 7-Elevens. I mean, you got to get it.
Right.
You got to get it at the core. So
I don't think that means anything to these guys. I mean, they do all these character tests. They take tests. They have written tests. Some guys do really poorly. They don't care. They still draft them.
and the question, dog or cat? You like dog? I mean, that's some of the question, right?
I always watch the movie Draft Day, either the day before or the day of, just because it's, first of all, it's Cleveland actually zipping it to everybody else, which never happens. And it's Costner.
Kevin
It's good. Yeah. It's good. And Dennis Leary, and it's some great characters.
It is a
and
great flick.
Good stuff.
So their first 14 picks,
Yeah. All offense.
all offense.
Yeah, what'd you think of
Defense
that?
is the name of the, I don't know. That's different. And 6 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about quarterbacks. You know how I am about quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So I looked it up. In the last 10 years, there have been 30 quarterbacks drafted in the first round.
Okay.
First
30.
round. 30. 18 of them have been bust. 18 of them.
Okay.
That's not a real good
you don't want to get all
percentage.
18.
Right,
but I wrote
right,
it out.
right.
That's not a real good percentage. Yeah, but who was your most shocking moment?
Oh
of the
my
play?
God, the Falcons.
The Falcons.
Oh,
right,
well,
yeah.
Penix. I mean, they just signed Cousins for guaranteed $100
$1 trillion.
Yeah.
Let me give you the other side of that. Though,
Okay.
All right. Other people wanted Cousins too. So if you wanted him, you had to go get him.
Right.
They had no idea Penix was going to be available. They didn't want Penix to start this year anyway. I think I don't think it's a bad idea.
He's 24 already.
Yeah, so he's 26 when he first starts
But
playing.
Penix, there were analysts that said Penix wasn't even going to be a first rounder.
Yeah, there's questions about him. But
him and Knicks were saying going to be second round.
I think Knicks was a terrific pick because Sean Payton loves him.
Yeah, he loves him,
and he's going to give him every opportunity to succeed. Bo Nix has played for 10 years already,
and he drafted his Oregon wide receiver.
He drafted one of his wide receivers. Right. So I think it's all about where you end up rather than when you get picked. To me, I mean, Caleb Williams was far and away the best quarterback, but he's going to Chicago. When was the last time they had a really good quarterback? Do these guys know what they're doing with him? Is he going to be okay? They got him a Dunze to catch balls. The best pick the Bears made, and this is why their draft was probably the best. They picked the punter from Iowa in the fourth round, who was probably the best player in college football. He made Iowa a bowl team last year as the punter because they had no offense.
You like that pick?
It was a great pick. Should have been. If they'd had to trade up to get him in the third, they should have done it, but they didn't have to. They were able to hang back till the fourth.
It's normally a pick that a really good team makes late in the draft.
Sure.
Usually they'll take a punter, and the Bears are not a really good team yet.
No.
But they expect to be, and taking the punter is kind of a notation that we're going to be really good. Yeah. So we need a punter. To get back to the Penix pick in the Falcons, I know you defended it with but doesn't this make things, I think it makes it uncomfortable for both of them.
Oh, sure it does.
Because, and the Atlanta Raheem Morris came out and said, well, Kirk Cousins isn't going to have to be looking over his shoulder. He's our quarterback. Well, of course he is. They drafted his replacement, right after they give him a 2-year, and now they draft his replacement. And Penix is uncomfortable for him because, whenever the starter makes a mistake, the crowd's going to be chanting for Penix.
Sure.
And now
I
didn't like it. I think if you want to be good this year, and here's what the Falcons, the rest of the squad is thinking, and Kirk Cousins is thinking, if we want to be good this year, get me a player to be good this year.
Correct.
I mean, Penix isn't going to help him this year if he doesn't play. And Raheem Morris, didn't he say we'd be happy if Penix played for us didn't play for 5 years? 5 years. He's going to be 35 then. I mean, it's just
in 5 years, Raheem Morris isn't going to be coaching the Falcons, so it's not going to matter. Yeah. 66 quarterbacks played last year in the NFL.
Wow.
Penix is going to get his shot. I mean, people get so many guys get hurt.
Falcons need so much help, especially defensively. At the 8th pick, they could have got a really guy to step in and play. Your first round
but
pick
they might have. Yeah, they might have wanted Penix in the first place, and never thought he was going to get down that low, or thought they were going to do something else.
People weren't talking about him being a
when the guy you want is
he
there.
He might have gotten him later if a lot of guys didn't want him.
But
they passed on the two great edge rushers, late two from UCLA and the kid from is it Alabama? Yeah.
But you got to get a first round pick has to be a guy to come in and play right away. He's going to play right away. In my book, if you're picking 8th, that means you had a terrible season last year. You got to pick right away. How about the Giants?
I was going to ask you about your Giants. So they
I'm so happy they didn't pick a quarterback.
The only quarterback they would have picked is McCarthy. Well, apparently there was talk that they talked to the Patriots about getting the 3rd pick.
Right.
And when the Patriots said no, we're going to keep him, that's when the Giants went
down.
down.
They had a chance to get J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah,
they didn't pick him.
So they
got a great wide receiver.
Obviously they didn't like him.
Right.
Yeah, the wide receiver from LSU.
Correct. Who's terrific.
Who was
the
first?
Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
but the thing they didn't do, this is the thing that gets me all the time. They drafted no offensive linemen. You have to build around your offensive line. And they didn't do it again. It drives me crazy. Absolutely crazy.
How about the Chiefs picking Xavier Worthy, the fastest guy in the draft?
Fastest guy in American history, apparently. 4.2 in the draft.
4.2 in the draft. Yeah.
I mean, in the
can Mahomes lead him? Or can he not? I mean, is he too fast? Mahomes, you have to catch it from behind him because Mahomes can't throw it far enough. That was a pretty interesting pick. The Browns, for the 4th straight year, picked Deshaun Watson. I think that was a great pick, 4 years later, we know what he can do and what he can't do. They picked him the year before and the year before that.
Is it 4 years? They give up four picks.
Well, three first-round picks, and to get him.
And there's so many receivers taken, early, a ton of receivers, and to get back to your boy Malik, that went with the Giants. He was the first guy in the draft to go third person. These guys are such divas. He said Malik knows Malik. He did that in the interview after. I said, wait a minute, and your Giants got him. So.
We roast everybody on this show. It's kind of we're kind of a roast show, but the Brady thing was kind of.
Yeah, Tom Brady puts himself up for a roast on Netflix. So if you've got Netflix, you can go watch it.
And you can probably get paid.
But pack a lunch because it's 3 hours long.
It's about an hour and a half too long.
Yeah. But
Tom probably got a few dollars for doing this. Right?
He does a lot of things for money. He probably does.
But he was a great sport. He sat up there while comedians and his teammates and other athletes came up and just killed him. They just killed him. Of course, he got a chance to come on at the end.
Right.
And he was really great. He went back. Much of it was vulgar and cringy, and you can't repeat it here. But a few of the lines were good.
Your favorite line. You're a wordsmith. Your favorite couple of lines.
Well, I don't know the
ones you wish you'd have written.
It started with Kevin Hart was the host, and he kept coming on, and he kept looking at Brady and said, "F Brady, F you Brady, F you," whatever. But and they went after everything from Brady's losing money in crypto to Giselle. To Deflategate.
I thought there was a great Giselle that we can actually use when the comedian Nikki Glazer said, Tom, you're here with 7 rings. Oh no, it's 8. She gave hers back. Giselle gave hers back.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Kevin Hart said.
Any of us have ever been through that.
Kevin Hart said to Tom, he said, yeah. Too bad Giselle's here tonight with Antonio Brown as her +1, which really kills.
Oh man!
And they had and Glazer also said, Tom, the most stupidest move you ever do is 1, you agreed to this roast, and 2, you suggested to Giselle, hey babe, why don't you take up jujitsu? She supposedly is having an affair with her jujitsu instructor.
And apparently, she comes out of this. Nikki Glazer as the star. Apparently had most of the really good.
Well, they had and then the roast master general Jeff Ross, who kills everybody. He's very, very vulgar, but he had agreed. He says, Tom, you were drafted number 199 in the 6th round when Belichick's dog accidentally ran off and stuck on the computer. He said, I understand you came to Bob Kraft the day you were drafted and said, Mr. Kraft, this is the best decision your organization has ever made. Would you like a massage?
No.
I mean, there was much worse stuff than that.
How about what Peyton said?
What Peyton?
He said Eli and I are super excited about, and it's going to give Coach Belichick something he hasn't had in a while, the chance to be around quarterbacks he respects.
Yeah, he killed Belichick. He also said, everybody compares Tom and I, but my handicap is golf. I have a 6 handicap. Tom's handicap is he got beat twice by Eli Manning. So he blew 2 leads to my brother.
Which Eli, who was not at the roast, but Eli tweets out later, says he thought about going, but he didn't want to roast Brady for a 3rd time. Which you're Giant, look at him, Giants fan. He's loving that.
Absolutely.
Well, then Brady got a chance, and he came out, and he was terrific. He says, Thanks, Peyton, for coming to Los Angeles. I understand you live half the time in Louisiana, half the time in Vendor, but you always live in my shadow.
I like that.
And he also said that I think he kind of directed this toward Peyton, but that the rumors that he wants to buy a piece of the Raiders are probably true because he's tired of just owning the Bills and the Colts.
Well, he also said a lot of news came out that it sounded like he admitted to Deflategate because he came out and he said, the NFL spent $200 million on Deflategate and found out that I allegedly knew about this. He said, hey, why don't you just sort of paid me? I would have admitted I did. I mean, and he gave it. He went down the line and gave it to some of the teams. He gave it to the Chiefs. He said, the Chiefs claim they have the loudest fans. He said it helps when they're all 14-year-old girls. Well, and he said in honor of Tay-Tay, he said let's look. He said in honor of Tay-Tay, he said let's look at the Chiefs' eras, which of course is the name of her album, Eras.
Yeah. Okay.
He said that the Chiefs' eras. Let's see, terrible for 50 years, good for 5 years. He said, "Shake It Off," which is another Taylor Swift song. Yeah.
Wow.
So the writers all got paid. I guess we don't have to throw any of them under the bus.
Brady also killed Belichick. Yeah. He said, everybody says, who was more important, who was this, who was that. Oh, yeah. He said, I got to give it to you, Bill. You're such a genius. You picked you had a choice between an aging, overpaid, injured Drew Bledsoe and a young, healthy, medium-wage superstar, me. Congratulations, Bill. A high school coach could have made that choice. And then he said, hey, I wonder, I've been gone for a while. I'm curious, how many Super Bowls have you won since I was gone? I mean, he
got fired.
Yeah.
He got fired. Yeah. Think about that since Brady's been gone.
And then he said, but I gotta, he said, everybody used to say my favorite ring is my next one. He says, my favorite ring is the television camera that picked up Bill Belichick slinking out of that poor girl's house at 6 a.m. Hey, brother, he looked at Bill and said, Bill, you still got it. You still got it.
They hammered these guys, didn't they?
It was a brutal and much more than I think anyone expected. Right. We got much more of this kind of stuff. We'll be back with that as we continue Under the Bus. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens alongside Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. I don't think I introduced us all at the beginning of the show.
No big deal.
By now, if you're watching,
no big deal.
I've already got it figured out.
I'm going to throw under the bus.
Okay.
The Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona, the baseball field the Diamondbacks play.
Yeah.
How can a big league stadium allow 8 million bees to hive up over the netting behind home plate, like 8 million by my count.
Yeah.
And they hold up the game, and the bees are going crazy. They have to call in the beekeeper, a guy named Matt Hilton. Hilton Head's own. I wish he was. I don't think he is, but he comes on, the beekeeper, and he goes. You saw this. He goes up on the mechanical forklift, and he sprays them first, and then he puts them into a vacuum cleaner. All the dead bees. It was great. It was great. And then they let him throw out the first game 2 hours later, and he walks out in his beekeeper outfit, and he throws off his helmet and his coat like he was just the winner of the 100-yard dash in the Olympics. I mean, it was great.
But no one complained about they killed the bees. There's somebody out there that's probably upset about them killing the bees.
I'm guessing, and I don't know this, that the spraying of the bees didn't kill him. It knocked him out, and then he sucked them up. And because I'm sure there would have been some serious Christy Nome stuff if
you think
he
just killed them? He killed them. Come on.
No, I don't think he did. I think
you mean they're buzzing
he just
around.
Stunned him.
You mean they're buzzing around in that little pipe?
And then they got him out and
the vacuum
they put him someplace.
They're buzzing around in the vacuum.
They should have just taken the Twins' summer sausage and gotten the bees interested in that. The Twins, you see that 12-game winning streak. I mean, they had done nothing this year. Now all of a sudden, one of the guys gets a summer sausage into the locker room. Thank God they kept it wrapped up. But they kept it and would toss it around in the dugout when a guy would hit a home run or whatever.
So the Twins are on a 12-game winning streak?
They were on a 12-game winning streak
and
until
the basketball team's
Sunday.
On a 6-game.
Yeah.
So they don't need a manager anymore.
And they've got J.J. McCarthy as their quarterback. I mean,
what else can you ask for?
Pretty nice to be in Minnesota right now, and it's unfrozen. It's May.
Okay, so you went to baseball.
Yes.
Now we go to baseball.
Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Give us the report on that.
I mean, he's not doing very well.
No, but I mean the strikeout. Come on.
He's striking out too much, way too much for making $30 million a year.
Maybe that's what the umpire really meant. When he threw out Aaron Judge, you're just a dog, and he threw him out.
But Aaron Judge was walking away from home plate.
That ball was so far off the plate.
I know.
Ridiculous. And he's walking away. He didn't even turn around. So he said the magic word, right? He did the F-bomb, and the throws him out of the game. First time he's ever been thrown out.
Correct. But he didn't even stay at home. It wasn't like he got in an umpire's face or even stayed in the batter's. He was walking away.
Walking away.
Yeah.
Here's another call. You want to talk any more about Judge? Because
well, I mean, he's just struggling right now. He's still a great player. You know, the Yankees haven't put it all together yet. I know. The guy that strikes out all the time that drives me crazy is Stanton.
Yeah.
When he strikes out, forget about it. I mean, he swings at the worst. He needs to stay at the Knicks game. He needs to stay there. He swings at the worst pitches I've ever seen.
Front row seats, right down
good for them, for the
Spike
Yankees.
Lee.
All those guys.
Spike Lee to play.
See all these guys that were there last night?
If Stanton got in a baseball fight, would he swing and miss?
I think he would.
Okay. just asking.
Okay.
Yes.
My Cardinals.
Yes.
My Cardinals.
Talk about your
called
Cardinals.
third strike. Did you see this? They're playing the White Sox. It's raining in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
It goes to the 10th inning. The Cardinals get the bases loaded. A couple guys come out and strike out. They call the game. 3 hours later,
Yeah.
3 hours later, they come out.
I got to finish. Yeah.
And a relief pitcher comes on, a relief hitter, and my guy, Ivan Herrera, who I don't even know, he's up at the bat. 4 pitches. The 4th pitch is so far off the plate, the umpire calls the third strike. The game's over after
waiting 3
he goes
hours.
on the internet, and he goes on the internet, and everybody says the umpire. It's the most prominent case. The umpire saying, "I want to get the F out of here," and they called him out. And the umpire's name is CB.
Oh, CB Buckner.
CB Buckner.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, it went on the internet. Now we know what CB names for. Never calls balls. This ball was so far. It was worse than
I
the
know,
judge
it's
strike.
bad. It's
it
bad
was
when you
way
see
off the
this
plate.
year.
Called third strike, and my Cardinals lose another one.
He and Angel Hernandez are the two, I think, at the top of every ball player's
Oh, really?
list of
You
the
know
worst
CB?
guys. Well, I've just heard. No, I don't know him.
Never calls balls.
Never
But
calls
now you
balls.
can see on TV, obviously,
Yeah,
with
with the-
technology, you can see that box where the ball is, and sometimes it's so far out, it's like, how do they miss that call? These are professional umpires. I mean, you're going to miss. I know you're going to miss sometimes, but
amazing.
they miss a lot.
It's as bad as NBA referees.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of officiating, how about now they're talking about technical fouls? The Ant-Man, they call an Ant-Man technical foul the other day, the first game of Minnesota, Denver, for staring down a guy. He made one of his spectacular dunks, and he stood there and he looked at the guy, and they teed him up. And even the announcers again said, "What is that?" Reggie Miller went nuts.
Yeah.
He said, "What is that? There's no way they should tee these
It's
guys
bad.
up."
If you think it's bad, you think about how about high school basketball and officiating sometimes. Whoa.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Tell us that great story about, maybe you did already, about the guys called a basket at the end of the game, and then they switched it. They switched the call, and game over, you had to walk away.
Right.
When you first thought you'd won. And
then they turned it around. But the best thing ever happened to me was when we went to a game 3 hours away, and we played, JV girls, JV boys, varsity girls. Now it's varsity boys. So you're sitting there through the whole night, and then it's finally, right before the game, the official comes to me and says, "Coach, I think I'm going to retire." I go, "Oh, really? That's wonderful. When are you going to do?" He goes, "No, I mean like retire, like now." I mean, what do you mean now? He goes, "I'm."
You didn't referee the game?
Are you going home now? I go, "Sir, we drove 3 hours. You retire after the game."
After the game.
He goes, "Well, I said, did the previous game, did our coach get on you?" He said, No. I just think it's time for me to kind of step away from officiating." I go, "You can't leave
During the night.
before the game.
Before
Our game." I convinced him that he did stay. He did stay.
Yeah, but he wants out. He wants to stay.
Yeah, so what kind of game do you think he's going to call?
Yeah. Did you win or lose the game?
I don't remember.
Yes,
We
you
won.
do. Yeah, I'm sure you do remember. Because did you get any calls?
Yeah, I could write a book about officials in the high school league.
You should. That'd be good stuff.
Well, to get it back to the NBA, though, again, now the NBA has this 2-minute report that they do after the games where they're going to say whether calls are right or wrong. And the other night they said the thing on the I'm forgetting.
Travel call.
On Turner throwing the illegal screen.
Oh, okay.
They said that was a mistake.
Right.
Well, why did they
bring it out?
First of all, it makes the refs look bad. It doesn't do anything for the team that lost.
Right.
What good is it? They just want to show that they're honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I call it the Tim Donaghy rule. the referee, that got thrown in jail for betting. That's what they want to do, I guess.
I think it's ridiculous.
It's a bad deal.
Well, what's the advantage of doing that? I mean, what does it help? It makes the team feel bad that we should have gotten that call, or we didn't get the call, and it does make the officials look bad. So what's the purpose of it?
Well, and even the game going back, the game the Sixers won where Maxey had the great game.
Right.
They said Maxey traveled
Correct.
before that great three-point play that he made. Travel? They haven't called traveling in the NBA in 50 years.
Or three seconds.
Yeah. You used to play CYO basketball.
Yes.
This is called CYA. Yeah, certainly. They're just covering their backsides.
It's
Anybody
just
else?
getting hammered in every sport. Basketball, hockey, they're all getting hammered.
Well,
Baseball.
to get back to the NHL, Edmonton, of course, has Connor McDavid, who's
Right.
the young face of the league. After the horn, the last game Edmonton and Vancouver played, Vancouver wins the game. After the horn goes on, McDavid, who his detractors call McJesus, they call him McJesus, which is great, I love that. But he went up and slashed the Vancouver player in the leg. This is after the horn goes off. The game's over. It's behind the goal mouth. And a Vancouver guy comes and he gets McDavid from behind, and the Vancouver guy in front of McDavid, who he slashed, he puts a stick in his face. I mean, they crushed this guy. I can't believe he skated off. And they gave a $5,000 fine to the guy that got him from behind. They suspended the guy that got him from behind, because he's the face of the league. And they crushed the face. They crushed his face.
And yet, when all of these series end, the guys line up and shake each other's hands.
Yeah, it's great.
And hockey is the only sport that does that, and
That's true. you're
once
right.
you leave high school, they're the only sport
That's
that does
right.
that, and it's still it's
Well, they do
very
it in
cool.
college basketball, but then they get in fights. They get in punch-outs, you know. The guys say something.
But to make them, in college basketball, it's kind of a passing thing. It's almost
Right,
like they make them go to the other locker room kind of thing. And
Yeah, and
but
they
in
should not-
hockey,
they
they
should
actually
not do
you're going
that.
to kind of clear the ice and line everybody up. And
College
kinda make
basketball, the head coach is pulling the better players aside and say, "You want to transfer to our school? We got a lot of money for you next year."
Let me ask you, as a coach, do you have that in high school basketball? Did they meet? They don't do that.
Yes.
After game. They do?
Absolutely.
And shake? Did you ever have any problems and
No.
guys going, want to
never
fight?
Had, never had a problem.
You ever had a problem with another coach who wanted to?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
That's happened.
Anything else in your notebook?
Yeah, I do
All right.
have a notebook.
Throw somebody under the bus.
Throw somebody under the bus.
Speaking of coaches, I want to ask you about this. The NBA, before COVID, all the NBA coaches used to dress up.
Yes.
They're really great dressers.
Yes.
Chuck Daly, the boy, was one of the great. Larry Brown.
Yes.
After COVID, they all went, you can wear whatever you want.
Right.
So they went to the tracksuits and then they all matched. When you were a coach, did you get dressed up for games?
Yes.
Did you put on a sport coat?
Yes, without a
Didn't
doubt.
wear the track outfit?
Never.
Was there
never,
any rules?
Never wore a track out.
Were there any rules or anything? You
No,
could wear
never.
whatever you
Just
wanted?
coaches back then just did. We wore a jacket and a tie. Occasionally, coaches would not wear a sport jacket. They would just wear a tie. I told you the story where I had my jacket, didn't I?
Yeah,
Where I-
throwing in the air.
No, thrown on the floor.
But are there new rules now? They
No,
can wear
there's no
whatever-
rules. It's no rules. I think COVID just came along and people just relaxed. Like, when you think about it, a football coach doesn't typically wear a tie on the side. There's a couple guys. Baseball, they're in a baseball uniform.
Football, they don't want you. In the NFL, they don't want you to because they've sold the gear that they
that's
all
true.
wear. The guys who wore ties got in trouble.
Right, but college basketball too. And you said the NBA, but college basketball. How about Jay Wright, the
all
way
gone-
he used to dress?
Oh, yeah,
up?
well, he was
And
the
now
best. He
you
was the
see
best.
a few guys who wear a tie.
Well, it's gone down from college. I wondered has it gone down to high school now where
Yes,
they're wearing
without a
tracksuit?
doubt, guys. Because I go
no
to the game now and I look there.
just
One
in
guy's had a hat
t-shirt.
on. Like, come on, you coach with
They had a hat on?
Yeah, wearing a Yankee hat. I couldn't believe it.
my
I was like,
gosh.
it blew my mind, But people have gotten away from wearing a tie. Jerry Faulkner continued when he coached his last year. He continued to wear a jacket and a tie.
Well, to
it was
get
the way
back-
we coached, just the way it was.
Well, the NBA, this guy for Oklahoma City was coached here, Mark Dano, young guy.
Yeah.
He's taken it all the way down to T-shirt. I mean, he's wearing like white T-shirts. They look like the cleanup crew.
Right.
And he's got all his assistants, but they're not really nice. They're not track jackets. They're just T-shirts. And as somebody that liked her, I liked. Yeah,
I
they're all
like the
under.
dress. I like
and your
the
boy,
dress. I didn't.
They look like the cleanup crew.
Yeah.
But your boy Thibodeau. He wears a black T-shirt. I mean, he looks like the janitor because already he's a very unglamorous character to look at.
Right.
He's scowling, he's moaning, he's crying, he's whining all the time. I mean, Rich, Tom Thibodeau never looks like he's having any fun. What's the deal?
But he
and
is.
now he's dressing in black T-shirts, and he totally looks like the janitor. I mean, get the mop, Thibodeau. It's hard to clean it up. What's the story? I mean, come on.
Better than Prison Orange, I guess, right?
He's really taking
Orange
it
will
down.
be the new black.
But all the NBA guys have really
They've
scaled
brought it down. They scaled
really
down.
have. In college basketball, too. It's a little disappointing.
But
I always like guys getting dressed up.
I do too.
It was classy.
But I was noticing Dano has taken it now down to another level. T-shirts and Thibodeau T-shirts.
There's no rules.
All right, we'll be back next week. We're going to throw a bunch of other people under the bus. We want to thank the crew here at USCB for helping us out. Justin, our producer. Thank you for paying attention for 40 minutes. At least it wasn't 3.5 hours.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks for watching.
Under the Bus is a production of the Loco Media Network and is filmed on the Hilton Head Island campus of the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. The executive producer is Justin Jarrett, with assistance from Trey Ramsey, Mahogany Hickman, and Adam Carroll.